I'm standing in my kitchen on a Monday morning at 9:47 when my phone buzzes on the counter. Just one ping, one little sound that changes everything. I pick it up. It's from my daughter. "Hey, Mom, so the wedding is this Saturday. If you want to come, here's the info." This Saturday. My daughter, my only child, the girl I raised alone after her father walked out when she was 2, is getting married in 5 days. And she's telling me like I'm a distant cousin she barely remembers. I don't cry right away. I just stare at the screen. My hands go cold. Because the worst part isn't that it's last minute. The worst part is realizing she almost didn't tell me at all. I gave her everything. Worked 2 jobs for 20 years so she could have dance lessons, summer camp, new shoes when hers wore through. I missed PTA meetings because I was working weekends. I ate peanut butter sandwiches for dinner so she could have chicken. And 6 months ago, when she asked for $12,000 to help with a house down payment, I cashed out my retirement without hesitation. No questions, no conditions. Just, of course, baby, I love you. And now I'm an afterthought, a maybe, and if you want to come. So I make a decision right there, in my quiet kitchen, with the coffee still steaming and the world moving on like nothing's broken. I'm going to that wedding, not because she invited me, but because I deserve to be there. But before I tell you what happened when I walked through those doors, you need to know who we were before he came into our lives. Her name is Jennifer Marie Thompson, born April 14th, 1992, 7 pounds, 3 ounces, with a scream that could wake the whole hospital. From the moment they placed her in my arms, I knew she was mine, and I was hers. Her father left when she was 18 months old, said he wasn't cut out for this, packed a bag, and never looked back. No child support, no birthday calls, nothing. So it was just me and Jenny against the world. I worked as an administrative assistant by day, folded clothes at the mall on weekends. I miss things, I won't pretend I didn't, but I was there every night, every fever, every nightmare, every heartbreak. When she was 7, she made me a Mother's Day card out of construction paper and glitter. On the front, she drew us holding hands. Inside, she wrote, "My mum is my hero because she never gives up." I still have it, framed on my nightstand. She got into State University on a full scholarship, and I cried for 2 hours when that letter came. My baby, the first in our family to go to college, was going to have the life I never did. Everything was perfect. Until sophomore year, when she came home for Thanksgiving and brought someone with her. Brandon Mitchell, tall, polite, pre-law. His father owned car dealerships across 3 states. His mother sat on museum boards and wore pearls like they were casual. And when Jenny introduced him in our little living room, the one with the Goodwill couch and the carpet stain I could never get out, I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. She was nervous, around me, in our home. She kept apologizing for things that didn't need apologies. "Sorry, the couch is old. Mum just hasn't had time to replace it." "Sorry, we don't have a dining room." I told her it was fine. Brandon said all the right things. "Your home is lovely, Ms. Thompson." But I saw the way he glanced around, saw Jenny seeing him see it. That was the beginning. After that, the calls got shorter. "Fine, Mom. Listen, I gotta go. I have a study group." Visits stopped. She used to come home every other weekend, then once a month, then only on holidays. When I asked if something was wrong, she'd say, "I'm just busy. You know how college is." I believed her because I wanted to. Then came the summer before senior year. She got an internship in the city, set up by Brandon's father, and stayed with his family instead of coming home. She called me once that entire summer. I called her 15 times. When I finally reached her, I said, "Jenny, I miss you. Is something wrong?" She sighed like I was bothering her and said, "Mum, I'm just growing up. And you need to give me space, from the woman who raised her alone." That fall, she brought Brandon and his mother to Thanksgiving. Catherine Mitchell, 56, blonde hair always perfect, voice dipped in honey but eyes like ice. She walked into my home, smiled and said, Oh, Susan, what a quaint little place. It must be nice, not worrying about all the upkeep of a larger home. Quaint, that's the word she used. All dinner, she talked about their life, their country club Thanksgivings, their Hampton summers, their charity galas. And every time she said there, she looked at Jenny like she was already part of that world. Later, while I cleaned the kitchen, I overheard her in the living room. Jennifer is a lovely girl, smart, ambitious, but she comes from humble beginnings. It's going to take time for her to adjust to our family's expectations. Brandon murmured something. She laughed softly. Oh, don't worry, darling. I'll take her under my wing. By the time you two are married, she'll fit right in. I stood frozen, dish towel in hand, because Catherine wasn't offering help. She was planning an erasure, and Jenny, my Jenny, was letting it happen. I should have confronted her then, but I was scared that if I made her choose, she'd choose them. And that fear, that silence, it was the biggest mistake I ever made, because over the next 2 years, I watched my daughter disappear. She graduated college. I drove 3 hours to watch her walk across that stage. Brandon's family had a whole section, 10 people in matching blazers. I sat alone, 4 rows back. Afterward, and there was a reception at an upscale restaurant. Catherine had reserved a private room. When I arrived, there was no seat for me. Oh dear, she said, I must have miscounted. They brought a folding chair, put it at the end of the table. I sat there 2 hours while Catherine gave a speech about how proud she was of Jennifer, the woman who'd known my daughter for 2 years, while I, the one who'd sacrificed everything, smiled from a folding chair. Jenny didn't thank me for coming, didn't introduce me to her friends. When I hugged her goodbye, she felt stiff, like she couldn't wait for me to leave. Then she moved in with Brandon. I helped her move, drove the U-Haul myself, took a day off work. Catherine showed up for an hour with champagne and a $300 candle. I brought towels from Target and kitchen supplies. My Jenny said thank you, but didn't look at me when she said it. The call stopped almost completely. Texts went unanswered for days. Sorry, work is crazy. Then, 6 months ago, she called out of nowhere. Hey, Mum, can I ask you something? Of course, baby, anything. Brandon and I are looking at houses. Could you help? We need $12,000. I didn't have it, but I had a retirement account I'd built for 15 years. I cashed it out, paid penalties, paid taxes, and gave her every penny, because she was my daughter. She cried on the phone. Mom, thank you. I love you so much. I'm going to pay you back, I promise. For a week, she called every day, sent pictures of houses, asked my opinion. I thought I had my daughter back. Then, silence again. 3 months passed. I texted, called, left voicemails. And she'd respond days later. Good. Fine. Busy. Then, last month, I saw a photo on social media. A friend of Jenny's posted it. A bridal shower. Jenny in white, laughing, opening gifts. I didn't even know she was engaged. I called that night. She didn't answer. I texted, Jenny, I saw the photo. Are you engaged? Why didn't you tell me? 3 hours later. Yeah, it just happened. We're keeping it low-key. Low-key. 200 people at a bridal shower. But telling your mother? Too much effort. I didn't respond, didn't know what to say. And then, 9:47 a.m. Monday morning. My phone buzzes. Hey, Mom, so the wedding is this Saturday. If you want to come, here's the info. That's when I knew. This wasn't an oversight. This was intentional. My daughter didn't want me at her wedding, but I was going anyway. And I stared at that text for 20 minutes. Part of me wanted to stay home, send a card, pretend it didn't destroy me. But then I thought of every sacrifice, every double shift, every time I wore the same shoes for 3 years so Jenny could have new ones. I thought of the $12,000 I'd just given her. And I thought of Catherine, sitting in her mansion, planning my daughter's wedding, erasing me like I never existed. No, I wasn't going to disappear. So I went to my filing cabinet, pulled out every document, bank statements showing tuition payments, receipts for textbooks, her laptop, her car insurance, the $2,200 hospital bill from when she broke her arm at 16, and the wire transfer, $12,000 6 months ago. I made copies of everything. Then I sat down and wrote a letter, not to hurt her, but because she needed to see what she'd forgotten. Dear Jennifer, I don't know when I became invisible to you. Maybe it was gradual. Maybe it happened all at once. But I know this. I gave you everything I had. Not because I expected anything in return, but because you were my daughter, my whole world. I worked 2 jobs so you could have one childhood that didn't include the word no. I cashed out my retirement so you could buy a house with the man you love. And when you needed me, I showed up every single time. But when it came time for the most important day of your life, I wasn't worth a phone call. I wasn't worth honesty. I wasn't worth a seat at the table. I don't know who convinced you that I'm not good enough, but I know who raised you to be better than this, and she's not going to sit home and pretend this doesn't hurt. I'll be at your wedding, Jennifer, not because you invited me, but because I deserve to be there, and whether you see me or not, I'll know I didn't let you erase me. Love, Mom. I printed it on nice paper, put it in an envelope with all the documents, got dressed in a simple navy dress, elegant, respectful, because I wasn't going there to make a scene. I was going there to be seen. Saturday morning, I woke at 6 a.m., did my hair, put on makeup, drove to the venue, hands shaking the whole way. The place was beautiful, rolling lawns, white tents, flowers everywhere, the kind of wedding you see in magazines. I walked up to the entrance. A young coordinator with a clipboard smiled. "Good morning. Name, please." "Susan Thompson." She scanned her list, flipped a page, scanned again. I'm sorry. And I don't see you on the guest list. I'm the bride's mother." Let me just go check with someone. One moment." She hurried off. I stood there as guests walked past, staring. 2 minutes later, she returned with Catherine. Catherine in a champagne dress, pearls, perfect hair. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Susan, what a surprise." "Hello, Catherine." She stepped closer, lowered her voice. "This is a private event. You weren't invited." "Actually, I was. Jenny sent me a text Wednesday, told me to come." Catherine's jaw tightened. "That was a courtesy. She didn't expect you to actually show up." "Well, here I am." Catherine glanced at the coordinator. "Susan, please, don't do this, not today. This is Jennifer's day." "You're right, it is Jennifer's day, and I'm her mother, and so unless you're planning to have security remove me, I suggest you step aside." We stood there, eyes locked, for 5 seconds. Then a voice came from behind her. "Mom." I looked past Catherine. There she was, my daughter, in her wedding dress, beautiful, pale, shocked. "Mom, what are you doing here?" "You invited me, Jenny." "I know, but you didn't think I'd actually come." She didn't answer. Catherine put a hand on her shoulder. "Jennifer, darling, you don't have to do this. Not right now." I ignored her, looked only at Jenny. "Walk with me, just for 2 minutes." "Mum, this isn't the right time." I pulled out the envelope. "Then when is, Jenny? When were you going to tell me the truth?" "What is that?" "It's everything I gave you. Every sacrifice, every dollar, every moment. And it's the letter I should have written 2 years ago." Jenny stared at it like it was a bomb. Catherine tried to stop her. "Jennifer, don't." "Stop." Jenny took the envelope, opened it, started reading. I watched her face, watched the tears start, watched her hands shake. She read the whole letter, right there, in front of everyone, and when she looked up at me, she was my little girl again. "Mum, I'm so sorry." Those 3 words, after 2 years of distance. "I'm so sorry." But I needed more than that. "Sorry for what, Jenny?" She looked down, couldn't meet my eyes. For not inviting you properly, No, I need you to say it, all of it." Catherine stepped forward. This is inappropriate. Jennifer, you have guests arriving. We need to— Catherine, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my daughter. Catherine's face went red, but she stepped back. I turned to Jenny. Tell me the truth, baby. When did you decide I wasn't good enough? She covered her face, shoulders shaking, and then she whispered, I didn't want them to see where I came from. There it was, the truth I'd known but hadn't wanted to believe. My daughter was ashamed of me, ashamed of our little house, our normal working-class life. She wanted to be one of them, and I didn't fit the picture. I could have screamed, could have broken down, but instead I said, Look at me, Jennifer. She lowered her hands, eyes red and swollen. I worked 2 jobs so you could have dance lessons, so you never had to feel poor the way I did. I gave you $12,000 6 months ago, my entire retirement, because you asked. And the only thing I ever wanted in return was for you to be proud of me, the way I've always been proud of you. But you can't even do that, can you? She sobbed, full body-shaking sobs. Mum, I am proud of you. Then why wasn't I invited to your bridal shower? Why didn't you tell me you were engaged? Why am I finding out about my own daughter's wedding 5 days before it happens? She had no answer, because there was no good answer. I pulled out the receipts, held them up. This is the tuition payment I made your junior year, $1,800. This is the hospital bill from when you broke your arm, $2,200. This is the car insurance I paid for 3 years, $4,500. And this is $12,000 I gave you without hesitation, because I love you. I let the papers fall between us. That's what I'm worth to you, Jenny. Receipts and memories. Guests gathered, whispering, staring. Brandon appeared, panicked. What's going on? Jenny, are you okay? Catherine jumped in. Brandon, darling, there's been a misunderstanding. Susan wasn't on the guest list and she's causing a scene. I'm not causing a scene, Catherine. I'm telling the truth. Something you've spent 2 years making sure my daughter doesn't do. Catherine's face went white. I turned to Brandon. Did you know your mother convinced Jenny not to invite me to this wedding? What? No, Jenny said her mum couldn't make it. I was never told there was a wedding, not until 5 days ago. Brandon's face changed. He looked at Jenny. Jenny, is that true? She broke. I didn't know how to— She wouldn't have fit in, Brandon. Your family is so— She stopped herself. But it was too late. Brandon's face hardened. She wouldn't have fit in. Jenny, she's your mother. Catherine tried to spin it. Brandon, you don't understand the full situation. Mom, stop. Even I was surprised. He turned to me. Miss Thompson, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. You didn't know. I should have known. I should have asked. I just assumed Jenny had things handled with her family, and I didn't push. He looked genuinely ashamed. My mother can be controlling. I've spent my whole life watching her manipulate situations. I should have seen what she was doing to Jenny. I'm sorry I didn't protect her, or you. I looked at this kid, just a kid trying to navigate his own family, and I saw something I hadn't seen before. Integrity. Brandon, you're not responsible for your mother's actions. But thank you for saying that. He nodded, held out his hand. Fresh start? Fresh start. 20 minutes later, the ceremony began. I sat in the front row, right where I belonged. The seat next to me, the one reserved for Catherine, sat empty, a silent testament to the choice Jenny had made. The music started. Bridesmaids walked down the aisle. And then Jenny appeared. She looked radiant. But as she walked, she wasn't looking at Brandon. She was looking at me. And when she passed my row, she stopped. Right there, in the middle of the ceremony. She handed her bouquet to her maid of honor, reached for my hand, pulled me to my feet, and in front of everyone, the guests, the officiant, Brandon, she hugged me. She whispered in my ear, I love you, Mom. Thank you for not giving up on me. I kissed her forehead, whispered back, Never. I'll never give up on you. She squeezed my hand, then walked the rest of the aisle to Brandon. I sat down, tears streaming, but this time, happy tears. The ceremony was beautiful. Simple vows, laughter, more tears. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," the crowd erupted. As they walked back down the aisle as husband and wife, Jenny reached out, grabbed my hand. Just for a second. But it was enough. The reception was complicated. Half the guests warm, half Catherine's friends cold. But I didn't care, because Jenny sat me at the family table, right next to her. During toasts, Brandon's father stood. Quiet man, didn't talk much. I've known Jenny for 3 years, watched her become part of our family. But today I learned something important. Jenny didn't need to become part of a family, she already had one. Susan, I don't know you well, but I know you raised an incredible woman, and I'm honoured to welcome you into our family. He raised his glass to me. Half the room followed. Jenny was crying, smiling. She mouthed across the table, "Thank you, Mum." Later that night, just before cake cutting, Jenny grabbed the microphone. "Hi everyone, sorry to interrupt, but I need to say something." The room went quiet. Most of you know that today didn't go exactly as planned, and that's because I made a mistake, a huge one. I let someone convince me that where I came from wasn't good enough, that my mom, the woman who raised me alone, who sacrificed everything for me, wasn't good enough. And I was so wrong. Tears streamed down her face. "Mom, I don't deserve you. But I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be the daughter you deserve." She pulled an envelope from her dress, handed it to me. "What is this?" "Open it." Inside was a check for $12,000. "Jenny, I'm paying you back, not because you asked, but because you deserve it, and because I need you to know that I see you. I see everything you did, everything you gave up. And I'm never going to forget again." I couldn't speak. I just pulled her into my arms. We stood there in the middle of the dance floor holding each other. The room erupted in applause. Afterwards she whispered, "Dance with me. I'd love to." We danced, mother and daughter. For 3 minutes the world disappeared. It was just us, the way it used to be, the way it should have always been. 3 weeks later, Jenny called on a Sunday morning. "Mum, can I come over? I need to talk to you about something." My stomach dropped. She showed up with Brandon, both nervous. We sat in my living room, the same one she'd once been embarrassed of. She took a deep breath. "Mum, I'm pregnant." "You're what?" "I'm pregnant. 10 weeks. We just found out for sure." I started crying. Happy tears. Then she said something that broke me all over again. "If it's a girl, we want to name her after you." "After me?" "Susan. We want to name her Susan." "Because I want her to grow up knowing who her grandmother is, what you did, what you sacrificed. I want her to be strong like you." Brandon spoke up. "Ms. Thompson, we want you to be part of this, every step, every doctor's appointment, every milestone. Our kid is going to know where they come from, and they're going to be proud of it." I looked at this young man, my son-in-law, and realized he wasn't like Catherine. He had his own mind, his own values, and he was going to make sure my grandchild knew the truth. 2 months later, I got a letter from Catherine, expensive stationery, monogrammed. "I'm writing because my son insisted I do so, not because I believe I owe you an explanation, but because he seems to think it's important for healing. I want you to understand that everything I did because I believed it was in Jennifer's best interest. She was entering a new world, a world with expectations, standards, and social dynamics you couldn't possibly understand. I was trying to help her navigate that world. But I can see now that my methods were not appreciated. Jennifer has made it clear that she will not allow me in her life unless I treat you with respect. She has also informed me that I will not be meeting my grandchild unless I apologize to you. So here it is. I apologize for any hurt I may have caused. I still believe Jennifer deserves better than the life she came from, but I acknowledge that you are her mother and she has chosen to maintain that relationship. I hope we can move forward civilly for the sake of the family. That was it. No real apology, no accountability, just politeness wrapped in contempt. I apologize for any hurt I may have caused. Not, I'm sorry for what I did, but sorry if you were offended. And that line, I still believe Jennifer deserves better than the life she came from, told me everything. Catherine hadn't changed, she'd just been forced to back down. I thought about responding, telling her exactly what I thought, but then I realized I didn't need to, because I'd already won. Jenny had chosen me. Brandon respected me. My grandchild would carry my name. Catherine could keep her country clubs and her pearls. I had something she'd never have, my daughter's love. So I put the letter in a drawer, and I never responded, because some people don't deserve your energy. March 14th, 2:17 in the morning. My phone rang. It was Brandon. Susan, we're at the hospital. Jenny's in labour. Can you come? I'm on my way. I drove through empty streets, heart pounding. When I got there, Brandon was pale, terrified. They took her back 30 minutes ago. Something about the baby's heart rate. They won't tell me much. I put my hand on his shoulder. She's strong. She's going to be okay. They both are. We waited. 2 hours, then 3. At one point, they took her for an emergency C-section. Brandon nearly collapsed. I held his hand, prayed harder than I'd prayed in years. Finally, at 6:47 a.m., a doctor came out. Mum and baby are doing great. It was a little touch and go, but everyone's healthy. Brandon exhaled like he'd been underwater for minutes. The doctor looked at me. She's asking for her mother. She was asking for me, not Catherine. Me. I followed the nurse down the hall into a quiet recovery room, and there she was. My Jenny, exhausted, hair a mess, still hooked to monitors, but smiling, holding the most beautiful baby girl I'd ever seen. I walked over slowly, afraid to breathe too loud. Jenny looked up at me, tears in her eyes. Mom, meet Susan, your granddaughter. I looked down at that tiny, perfect face, her eyes closed, her little fists curled, and I fell in love all over again. Jenny held her out to me. Do you want to hold her? I took my granddaughter in my arms, so light, so fragile. And she opened her eyes, just for a second, looked right at me, and I swear she smiled. Jenny was watching me. I'm going to tell her about you, Mom. Why, every day. I'm going to tell her about the woman who worked 2 jobs and never complained. The woman who gave everything and asked for nothing. I'm going to make sure she knows what real strength looks like. I kissed my granddaughter's forehead. Then I kissed my daughter's. Thank you, baby, for coming back to me. I never should have left. We sat there. 3 generations. Mother, daughter, granddaughter. And I realized this was what I'd been fighting for. Not revenge, not vindication, just this. Family. Little Susan is 3 months old now. I see her 3 times a week. I'm there for the 2 a.m. feedings when Jenny's exhausted. I'm there for the doctor's appointments. I'm there. Last week, Jenny invited me over for Sunday dinner, just the 4 of us. After dinner, she brought out a photo album, full of pictures. Me and her through the years. Her as a baby in my arms. First day of kindergarten, middle school graduation, high school prom, college acceptance letter. All the moments I thought she'd forgotten. On the last page, she'd written, "To my mum, the strongest woman I know, I'm sorry I forgot. I'll never forget again. Thank you for showing me what it means to stand up for yourself, what it means to love without conditions. I hope I can be half the mother to Susan that you were to me. I love you, always and forever, Jenny." I closed the album, looked at my daughter, and said the only thing I could say. You already are, baby. You already are. That night, after they'd gone to bed, I sat in my car for a few minutes, thinking about the text I'd gotten 6 months ago, the wedding invitation that came 5 days late, the hurt, the anger, in the betrayal, and I realised I could have stayed home that day. I could have let Jenny exclude me, let Catherine win. I could have accepted that I wasn't good enough, but I didn't. I showed up. I stood my ground. I told the truth. And because I did that, because I refused to be erased, my daughter found her way back, not just to me, but to herself. So if you're watching this and you're in a situation like I was, if someone you love is treating you like you don't matter, don't stay silent, don't shrink, don't let them make you small. Stand up, speak your truth, even if your voice shakes, even if you're terrified. Because the people who truly love you, they'll find their way back. And the ones who don't, you'll survive without them. Trust me, it's been 6 months since the wedding. Jenny and I talk almost every day now. And she calls me when Susan has a new milestone, when she needs advice, when she just wants to hear my voice. Brandon has become like the son I never had. He calls me Mom now, and he means it. As for Catherine, she's met the baby once. It was awkward, stiff. She held Susan for about 30 seconds, then handed her back. Jenny told me later that Catherine spent the whole visit making passive-aggressive comments. Such a shame she has your nose, Jennifer. I do hope she'll have Brandon's complexion. Jenny told her if she couldn't be respectful, she wasn't welcome back. Catherine hasn't visited since. And honestly, I don't care. Because I'm not fighting for Catherine's approval anymore. I have my daughter, I have my granddaughter, I have my dignity, and that's more than enough. Last Sunday we all went to the park, me, Jenny, Brandon, Art and baby Susan, just a normal family outing. Jenny was pushing Susan in a stroller, and she stopped, turned to me. Mum, thank you. For what? For not giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself. I pulled her close, kissed her forehead. I'll never give up on you, Jenny, never. Because that's what mothers do. We fight, we endure, we forgive. Not because it's easy, but because it's love. And love, real love, is worth fighting for, always. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where someone you loved made you feel invisible? Where you had to choose between keeping the peace and keeping your dignity? Tell me in the comments, because I promise you, you're not alone. Every week I'm going to be here, sharing real stories, real struggles, real hope. If this story touched you, if it made you feel seen, or understood or less alone, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, share your story, because your voice matters, your pain matters, and you deserve to be heard. You are not too much, you are not an embarrassment, you are not invisible, you are strong, you are worthy, and you deserve people in your life who see that. So stand up, speak your truth, and don't let anyone, not even family, make you forget who you are. Thank you for listening to my story. I'll see you next week. And remember, you are not alone.